Archie, have you heard the news that Asmongold is getting sued?
Yes, I have.
This is kind of crazy for a number of different reasons, but the biggest one is, well, one of the reasons is emotional distress, the always vague emotional distress. Now, this story comes to us from Dexerto. We'll check this out. As Miskiff sues Emeru and Asmongold for defamation following sexual assault allegations. Now, this is Miskiff here. I'm not familiar with this guy. Anyone heard of this dude before?
Nope.
All I know is he's a valuable lesson to all men out there. If this man can bang Emiru, what's your excuse?
That a boy. That a boy. That a boy.
But also, I just think it's ironic that like Emiru is being sued. Wasn't she the one that was sexually harassed at TwitchCon?
Well, yeah, but he wasn't a part of that.
No, I know that. I just think it's ironic that, she gets sexually harassed and then like a couple weeks later, here's a lawsuit, by the way, for something else about sexual harassment.
Well, you be careful what you say here, Blabs, because we may be next to be sued for here. But as Miskiff has filed a defamation lawsuit against Emeru, Emily Beth Shunk, and Asmongold, his former organization OTK, which means One True King, along with other entities following sexual assault allegations. Emeru accused Miskiff of sexual assault, stalking, domestic abuse, and more during an October 25th Twitch stream. Former partners and both previous streamers under the OTK org, the pair lived together in Texas before separating. She claimed to be in the process of filing for a restraining order. So some pretty, I'd say those are very strong allegations when it comes to here.
Yeah, the problem there is she did do that. I watched part of that stream, and the problem here is we've kind of developed this mindset that if you're online, you can say more or less everything because, it's kind of accepted you're just talking,
Mm-hmm.
But when you are streaming that to potentially tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people, a court will look at that and go, okay, does this fulfill the requirements of defamation? Probably. Can she prove that it happened? And then the burden of proof is basically on her saying like, no, this isn't defamation because it's true. So to everyone saying that Miskiff has no case here, I wouldn't be so sure.
Well, let's continue. Hours later, Miskiff booted up his own stream to fire off his own statements against Emeru while detailing the instance of alleged sexual assault from his perspective. And I think that's also something to really keep in mind is there's always one perspective, then there's the other perspective, and then what really happened is probably somewhere in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the aftermath, OTK, the streaming org founded by Miskiff, cited by co-owner Emeru, clarified any relationship with Miskiff was, quote, terminated some time ago. So OTK is like, yo, we're not dealing with these guys. This guy. Meanwhile, other content creators like Asmongold, also involved in OTK, further fueled the flames in panning Miskiff. Now the 30-year-old influencer is turning to legal system. Miskiff has filed a defamation lawsuit against Emeru, Asmongold, along with OTK, Mythical Talent Management, and King Gaming Labs, as first reported by KXAN right here. You can see here, there's Emeru here on the left. There's this Miskiff guy on the right.
God, he looks somehow worse in every picture I see of him.
He's got a lot going on up there. Blabs, any interest in Miskiff over here?
No, he's a wanker.
Okay, thank you, Blabs. You've just got a lawsuit against us. That's good.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. You said
that's
he's
an
a wanker.
Opinion. There's not defamation there. I think he looks like a wanker, a toshpot, whatever you want to say. The British do. Yeah.
Arch, your thoughts on Emeru?
In terms of the legal thing here,
no, just your thoughts.
He's like wood.
Dog.
I object to the entire parasocialism that is most young women on the internet, but she seems to be a not very egregious example of it. She seems to mostly just be a regular person. From what I've seen, at least, she doesn't seem to be like an active e-thought or anything like that. So, fine, neutral.
Okay. Well, the lawsuit filed in federal court claims the allegations leveled against Miskiff were false and have subsequently caused, quote, significant harm to his reputation and career. Not only does it take aim at Imaru's comments, but how the accusations were then circulated and supported by others in the streaming space, Asmongold being a key target. Miskiff has fired back in the courts, claiming the fellow influencer only boosted the virality of the claims. Says, yes, Arch.
Now that's going to be more of a stretch because, okay, you could argue mental damage, but Asmongold has a very good protection in simply going, listen, I covered the news. This was news. I gave my opinions on it. You know, that's very different than making the statements themselves. So
I think the one thing is that Asmongold is tied to One True King, right? OTK. So
yeah. I haven't seen his coverage on it. So maybe he said something like, "No, this totally did happen," in which case that'd be different again.
Well, let's see. Here is what he said right here. Asmongold said he regrets platforming Miskiff and feels somewhat responsible for the Imaru situation. This is exactly what he said.
I mean, I don't know, but and so it always was bad vibes. I mean, in a way, like there's a part of me that feels kind of responsible in a way, because like I wish I had just known more. If I was able to just know more and be more assertive and everything, but at the end of the day, I mean, I can't really fucking know everything, and I don't think anybody thought it was as bad as it was.
I'm curious because as of right now, I haven't heard anything that would really levy defamation at this point. And I'm sure there's more than just this 1 minute clip. But have you guys heard anything that raises your eyebrows at all?
It would be Emiru's original statements where she went over their relationship, basically, because she did make several allegations in there, basically from her perspective. And again, the only thing you see, defamation is actually very broad. Defamation is simply if you say something that could make the general populace, as a well-informed individual, think worse of you. That is defamation, because it was invented during a time of, print media, but it was expected that most people couldn't do that. Now, if you are making allegations that something happened and that could be criminal on the internet, it is very easy to be guilty of defamation, because it's a law that doesn't really serve the purposes of the internet. So we'll see.
Let's see what else he had to say here.
And I apologize for, platforming Miz to the extent that I did. It was a mistake.
By the way, like he just said, how is he supposed to, like, I don't know the ins and outs. Nobody knows the ins and outs here. But the idea of apologizing for platforming somebody when you felt that like they were okay. Look, let me give you an idea here, right? I've been working with Blabs here for almost 3 years at this point, right? Met her in person. We've hung out. We've had food. She's been a fairly normal person outside of her disdain for Olive Garden, right? Pretty normal person. With that said, we have a good relationship. But if all of a sudden, like I found out that Blabs had murdered 18 children and buried them in her backyard,
she did. Shit.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not. How would you apologize for that? Because I'm going off of what I know. I don't think it's fair for him to apologize in a situation like that. I don't know. Am I off base on this, or? Love to hear.
No, but it's an emotional situation, right? So
yeah. Well, Blabs, don't go murdering kids, okay?
Anymore.
At least not anymore.
Anymore.
You've gotten away with the ones you have. Just keep it there.
It was actually me. I did it all. The whole hoax about Canada and the little kids and everything.
Oh my God, was it you that killed everyone in Guam? Oh my God,
no.
It's all making sense.
Oops.
Let's continue.
Mistake. I didn't know it at the time, but it was a mistake. So
riveting. Okay, sounds good.
The music is hilarious, by the way.
That's what I was thinking the entire time.
I'm with you on that. Very sad and silly. Let's continue with this article. In the the claims. It says they acted in concert, wrongfully and baselessly accused Ms. of serious criminal activity for no purpose other than to harm him, his reputation, and his business, and wrest from him control of the companies that he helped build right here. Furthermore, the lawsuit seeks to shut down the notion of contractual breaches with OTK, Mythical Talent, and Gaming Labs, with the latter two claiming to be owed a collective nearly $900,000 in fees from Miskiff. The lawsuit also states that OTK, Mythical Talent, nor King Gaming Labs sought Ms. for comment on the allegations before terminating their partnerships. Now, I think that is, if that's true, that's fucked up, right? The idea that you see people just distance themselves so quickly based off of allegations.
Yeah, because in that case, they fired him just because somebody said something.
Right. Which we've seen how quickly that happens with cancel culture and all that as well. So you at least should reach out. Although no exact dollar amount was disclosed in the lawsuit, the outlet reports that Miskiff is seeking compensation for, quote, reputational harm, lost earnings, and emotional distress. God, the blanket
emotional damage.
Yeah, for me, that's the that's like the one right here. So
it's just a general legal term for distress, being stressed out, etc. So I get that they write it in there.
How do you prove or defend the stress?
You simply need to
weight gains and stuff.
Well, you need to convince the court, either the judge or the jury, that you were distressed by this. And again,
here's my therapist receipts.
Well, yeah, or you simply say, like, okay, I lost a lot of money, I received a lot of backlash online, etc. This made me feel distressed. And if the people in the jury go, yeah, that would suck, there you go. Damn. So you don't need to prove it so much. But what he does need to prove, though, is he needs to prove that the allegations were false, at least within reasonable doubt, because it is still upon the defender or the accuser. I don't know the exact legal terms in this particular case, but it's on Miskiff to go like, okay, she said I sexually assaulted her. I can show I didn't, or at the very least show that there is enough reasonable doubt that the allegations were made with the intent of damaging his reputation. Because again, the problem with defamation, or in this case, it would be slander, technically, because it's spoken, not written, is what do you prove and how? And a lot of that is going to be interpretation. Like Blabs says, like there's no, unless he was secretly filming all of this, he can't hold up a receipt and go like, oh, I didn't, He's going
to have to work really hard on his pathos in court and be like, pity me.
Well, let's take a look at this to see if this actually did damage here, because Imaru's claims comes 3 years after it was alleged Miskiff helped cover up a sexual assault incident involving other streamers, though the court ultimately threw out the claim in this separate defamation lawsuit. Okay, so this is 3 years ago. By the way, he has 2 million followers over on Twitch. And going to the Twitch tracker website, you can see that this is probably when those first allegations were put in place here, right? As far as you can see, he actually lost 49,000 followers back then. So yeah, that's pretty big. And you see the average viewers. Now this is once again coming off of COVID. You can see the rise here that happened specifically during COVID. He's one of those guys who blew up, and the big drop off here, but he also streamed considerably less. And he's been kind of, been going along, still massive audience. I mean, streaming to 20,000 folks, even today, streaming to 15,000. I mean, that's a shit ton of people. And you can see the allegations here back. He's been consistently dropping followers. He did see an up in 50,000 back in April, but since then he's been slowly dropping, which, that happens to channels, the ebbs and flows of it. So I guess you could say that it did hurt him financially. I don't know what you can say emotionally. I mean, yeah, everyone had their fifis hurt at some point, but I don't know. I mean, I guess if you can show that there's a dramatic drop in revenue, or from a business perspective,
you could then argue the opposite as well at the same time. Because if you can demonstrate loss of income, then that will lead to emotional distress. Because, if you go to an average person and say, hey, you just lost your job, would that stress you out? It's like, Yeah.
Distress usually is proven by like medical documents, and they'll do testimonies of people. So and they can have a friend that said, "I've noticed that they've now behaving like XYZ." Da da da. That's usually how they prove that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they can do that too.
Well, let's see what other people are saying about this. Let's go to Tectone, who said anyone saying Miskiff will sue Asmongold and Imru and win because Miskiff has more money. First off, doesn't get how the legal system works. And even if it does work exactly that way, one party made millions and burned it all on expensive cars, steroids, and hair transplants. The other party spent less than 1% of what they made on gummy worms and beef jerky. Which party do you think's got more money left over here?
Oh, yeah, like, that is a silly argument, because I guarantee you Asmongold's got a lot more money than Miskiff, but money is frankly irrelevant here. Neither of these parties are going to be running out of cash to pay lawyers with anytime soon.
Man, I'll tell you what, you say that, but I see a day where there's going to be some sort of major, we saw the YouTube adpocalypse a few years ago, some sort of like stream apocalypse where everybody's suing each other. It's some Avengers big civil war thing going on, and everyone's suing everybody, and they all end up broke on the corner trying to IRL stream their panhandling. Oh man, that'd be awesome.
I can see it, because one of the big issues with like Twitch streaming now kind of has become the fact that streamers have become almost the new Hollywood celebrities. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got massive egos. Everyone's very touchy. Everyone's very aggressive, and everybody fucking hates each other behind the scenes. It's gotten so, like, I don't know if you saw this, but one of the VTubers, Bow the Whale, made a tweet a few weeks ago about how, like, if a big male content creator approaches you and you're a woman, just run, right? And like that is absolutely a thing that can happen. Somebody larger than you comes in, tries to hit on you using their power or leverage on the platform. We've seen that on Twitch, on countless other platforms. But I remember when I first started streaming, and Craig, you've been doing this far longer than me, but back then there was a genuine sense of people helping each other. I was helped with lots of people. I've tried to help lots of people in return. And so the idea now that everyone is just there to screw you is like, yeah, I don't like it.
Okay, if I can put it on my old head here for a minute. Yes, there absolutely was a time in early content creation where it was a rising tides mentality, right? This idea that we're all going to work together, we're all going to grow. And I still, for the record, feel that is very much the best way to grow online, is through collaboration, through working with other people, people being exposed to you through their shows and vice versa, right? I think that is for sure. Now, there has definitely been a giant uptick, and it did not take long for people to really go out of their way to be fucking idiots and only be out for themselves, right? And you see this in any industry. There is a giant uptick. We talked about this as far as being snakes in the grass, people who will glad hand you straight to your face. Oh, this is great. And then go on their show and be like, fuck that guy. We see that all the time, all the fucking time. Or talk bad about you, when they're not live. That is just a fact of being online and content creation. It is what it is. The only difference is that I will shoot you straight whether I'm talking on stream or not. That's like the big difference for me. I'll tell you exactly how I feel. But yeah, there's definitely been a giant uptick in that over the last few years, and it started with the generation after my generation, for sure. So, curious to see what Legal Mindset had to say about this lawsuit, and he said, Miskiff is going to lose this lawsuit so hilariously, I will need to supersize my popcorn for this one. He has opened himself up to complete reputational destruction while suffering the pain of discovery and legal fees. And here is the key word here: discovery. Here, so, which I think that's the word that Disney didn't want to hear when it came to Gina Carano. That's what no company wants to hear, because discovery allows everybody to see all the dirty laundry and everything that happens. So,
because my position is like, okay, you shouldn't discount Mischief's position here because defamation can be rather broad. But at the same time, if the other side actually has evidence that he did do some of this stuff, then he's fucked. So, because then they can actually go to him and say, like, I need you to hand over the evidence, or they need to have their own, etc. You know, because he is now, make no mistake, defamation is you saying this didn't happen, you're lying. So if the other party can prove that they're not lying, big shits.
Right. Well, what do you guys think about this? Is there any based off what we know, and obviously there's a lot that we don't know, but based off of what you guys see, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. We're growing. Grow with us. Hit that subscribe button. Don't make it weird. Not like that. That's weird.